as well. And
Yeah, I mean, and we're going to get into more because people are joining in. But um, Eddie, do you want to introduce yourself as well? Because as I said, people might know you from one group and others might know you from others. But how would you want to introduce yourself as well?
Well, I'll just say Eddie F, aka DJ Eddie F. Started with Heavy D and the Boys. Um, Went to Mount Vernon High School, originally from Mount Vernon. And since Jimmy went through his school, I'm just gonna, you know, drop a couple of bombs real quick. Went to Mount Vernon High School where uh, Dick Clark, Denzel Washington, Stephanie Mills,
right.
Wow.
and then and then Gus Ray Williams. At one point, we were the only high school in the nation with 4 players in the NBA at the same time.
Wow.
Remember that because we had posters. They had posters in the school that said Mount Vernon High School, the only high school in the nation with 4 players in the NBA. And we famous for basketball. We win the state championship probably at least half of the time, probably more than half of the time. Mount Vernon High School are state champions. Shout out Mount Vernon. Shout out my classmate from kindergarten all the way to Mayor Sean Patterson Howard, who's mayor of Mount Vernon. Shout out to Mount Vernon. But
the home of the haircuts too. Don't forget that.
Yeah, well, shout out Groovy Styles, the original
Mike Daddy,
leader of the 7 Up crew. Mike Daddy, fresh cuts. Scotty G, who will keep the fresh cuts. Man, it's a lot of barbers, man. I can't even name all the barbers. But Mount Vernon is the D-Mac home. Is the home of the fresh cuts. My man Ray. But anyway, Mount Vernon. From Mount Vernon, New York, and within my generation or graduating class, and the last couple of years after me was myself, Heavy D, Albie Shore, Pete Rocket, CL Smooth, Kenny Smooth, Kate, Dave Hall, Novell Hodge. We all
Wow.
Vernon. And I know I left somebody out. Eric Miltier, great writer who wrote the original Mary J. Blige first single. Jeff Redd, you called and told me. Jeff Redd went to Mount Vernon High School. I'm glad you mentioned him.
What?
He's my man Jeff Redd, who I call a everlasting Harlem Mount Vernon.
You called and told me, man.
Yeah, Jeff. I love our brother Jeff because not only is his music fly, his style and fashion is always fly. He always represents New York and beyond, and Mount Vernon. Very, very stylish. So I appreciate our brother. And I mentioned Al already. Everybody knows Al's my brother. Started off with.
Yeah.
But come from Mount Vernon, New York, and then I also not only being an artist on Uptown, I started Untouchables. We produced a lot of records for Uptown. And then I went on to do remixes and production outside of Uptown for LaFace Records, Motown Records. Then I went on to be vice president of A&R at LaFace Records with L.A. Reid and Babyface. I was honored to work with them. And then I also brought Donnell Jones to LaFace. And I'll just stop there because I'm sure we're going
to... Yeah, no, it'll be interesting to know because we've got Jimmy here. I mean, how did you meet up with Jimmy and the whole Uptown? Because it's I've heard from Jimmy's side about how he's how they start stuff. But how did you guys get to the attention of Uptown and Jimmy?
Well, before I even go into how we got to Uptown, I'm just going to talk about Jimmy really quick. Jimmy is so. If Andre Harrell is the general or the leader of Uptown, Jimmy is the next man, and not only that, he embodied the whole spirit, the whole vocabulary, the slang. Everybody that you heard at Uptown talking that had a certain dialect, a certain way of speaking, a certain vocabulary, that all came from Jimmy Luv. Jimmy Luv invented the whole Uptown. Basically, a persona. Like we heard people saying, whatever, and all. I'll be sure putting that into videos or whatever.
Wow.
Jimmy was definitely somebody who people like. He had a whole company talking like him, you know, using his vocabulary, and that became like the whole phrasing that we used at Uptown Records. Now, how we got to Uptown was we did demos in my basement. It was myself, Heavy, Al, and Novell. And I'm not gonna go through the whole story right now, but long story short, we went to try and meet Russell Simmons, and we ended up meeting Andre Harrell. He was vice president of marketing at Rush at the time. And then Andre actually, we didn't know he was getting ready to start his own label, which was Uptown Records, and he asked us to be a part of that, and that's how we ended up signing with Uptown Records.
I mean, Jimmy, at that time, were you there when had you were already there at the ground when Heavy D and Eddie
since the OnStar
joined in?
Yes, I knew Heavy and Eddie and the group since they were like 16, 17 years old. You know, wow. Eddie's like a prodigy and a genius. You know, instead of taking his scholarship to MIT, he came on the road with us and became the DJ at EF that he is today. And also, he had everything already set up. As he put me in check today, he was letting me know that he already had his music done and prepared before he even got on the scene. So,
I mean, Jimmy, hold on, because guys might not realize this. Because I remember when I interviewed G Wiz, Glenn, he said that they all dropped out of high school, but Eddie finished because Eddie's parents, mom, were educators, and he was smart.
Like, so. Eddie finished early too, like 2 grades ahead of time.
Yeah. I was a grade ahead. I got skipped. And my mother and father were both in education, and my dad. He absolutely wasn't going for, they were from the South. They were both from Mississippi, moved to New York, progressive Black, Southerners, education was everything. In our house, we had on the wall, we had JFK, Bobby Kennedy, and Martin Luther King, like 3 pictures on the wall. So we had that.
Wow.
It was one of those houses. But I was telling Jimmy today that I wasn't a producer when I came into Uptown, but I was a beat maker. I was trying to figure out how to make beats. And why he was saying this is because we were discussing that the first 2 records that ever came out on Uptown, which were Mr. Big Stuff and Uptown's Kicking It. I did the drum beats for those songs, and I was a co-producer. I wasn't a producer, so I don't want to get anything wrong or take any credit.
Controversy.
Else. I wasn't a producer. I didn't even know what a producer did. But my point when I was explaining to Jimmy was, of the whole album, those were the only drum beats that I did. I did those drum tracks, and I was co-producer. And it just so happened those songs ended up being the first 2 singles off the Uptown's Kicking It compilation, which were the first 2 singles ever off of Uptown's Kicking It, and Mr. Big Stuff. So for my contribution as a beat maker and co-producer, and to have my name on both of those songs in the credits, I'm very proud of that, because those were the first 2 bricks laid in the building of Uptown musically. So I'm proud of that I can say, hey, I co-produced and did the drum tracks of the first 2 songs that ever came out on Uptown.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of Halftime Chat. Please remember to subscribe, share, and comment. But most importantly, why don't you become a member of Halftime Chat? We've got amazing videos, amazing perks, and being able to support the channel. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.
I never participated in that category.
And somewhere in between us, or even loving us, on which I didn't miss you.
What was it like growing up?
She's still making an impact on 4 houses down.
I have a couple of pieces.
Trying to get this one and that one.
That works for you, but just for me,
No, okay, you're okay.
They don't understand what Jonas Boyz winning all spirits.
play it.
mean, I love all different genres.